I'm hanging out here at First HQ, talking through Hour of Code with myself, Shadow Temple, and Libby hanging out here today. We just got through doing some stuff with learning how to kind of code outside of the realm of like robotics and tech itself, but just talking more through the steps that it takes to do different things, whether it be in space or in like regular everyday life.
Yeah, how to think like a programmer. So we've started off with an activity that sort of is meant for younger students, but now we're moving a little bit further into what our class packs offer. So again, first has class pack options for pre-K all the way through 12th grade. The one that we're specifically going to work with in this next little segment is our First Tech Challenge class pack. So this would be appropriate for middle or high school students. You can buy the pack as a teacher and be able to have a First Tech Challenge experience inside your classroom, learning how to build. The lovely folks at First let us skip that part for this stream specifically, how to build, how to wire it up, and how to code your robot, which we'll get into in a moment. And then we are actually going to play the mini game. So just like First Tech Challenge competition teams go out across their state or across their region to go to tournaments, First Class Pack includes a structure, a set of rules, a game for your own in-class tournament. So you could have this be a tournament of, your fourth period math versus sixth period math, or you could have it across the whole school. You have all of these different options where you're building a robot with a purpose, you're learning how to build and code and wire and all of the great things that go into a First Tech Challenge team, but then you're creating an engaging competition environment without ever leaving your school. You're right here at home.
And the big part about this, too, is that this is supposed to be kind of a really fun culmination of all the skills that have been learned in the class pack up to that point, right? So you start small, you build up some very basic things. You learn how the motors work, how the electronics work, how to get the programming on there. And then by the end of the unit, the idea is that you break into this mini game that is set up to be really accessible and handy for these kids coming in. And then, as you said, you can set up as competitions between like various groups in your classroom, working against each other, working with each other, of course, to learn how to work against each other in the competition.
Absolutely. Well, we don't compete in First without our gracious professionalism, so of course you're against your opponent on the field, but you're also their teammate in the classroom.
And the nice part about all this is that it's a guided online curriculum that both the educator and the students have access to.
Yep.
So the students have their own separate section where they're looking through these different sections that allow them to actually organize and just work through each of these steps as they try to build up their robots and their knowledge base to actually get these things working, along with the teacher then monitoring their progress as they move along.
Yeah, so the First Tech Challenge class pack is meant to be run across a semester in school. So you would start with this group and you'd start from scratch. You'd end up with a robot and this competition at the end of the semester. Of course, if you're a teacher yourself and you're looking at how to integrate this in your classroom, you could probably adjust it. Those modules, again, are available online once you purchase class packs. So you can choose when to use the lessons that you want to use. So it is adaptable, but it first gives you all of the resources to be able to go from start to finish with this First Tech Challenge experience.
Yeah, and one real quick question from chat came up. Do we have an FRC, or a First Robotics Competition FRC class pack yet? And the answer for that is that the First Tech Challenge class pack would be the one that would be used in high schools. For the First Robotics Competition, the idea is to really just kind of jump into the competition itself and kind of dig in from there.
There's quite a First Robotics Competition, or FRC as chat is calling it, is a little bit more involved, bigger robots, and the competition structure is a part of what makes First Robotics Competition unique. So First Tech Challenge would be the appropriate in-class choice from First at the moment.
It would be tough to build like 6 First Robotics Competition robots in a classroom, like for one class.
That's a big classroom.
And reassemble it for another. That'd be pretty tough. But thankfully, the nice part about with First Tech Challenge, not only are the robots nice and compact and easy to build and modular, they also have nice compact fields, which actually we have one here in the studio that we very efficiently assembled during that little video right there.
That's that movie magic.
That is the movie magic right there. And that is actually the field for the minigame in this class pack that we have in front of us.
Yes. So this is actually only half the field.
That's right.
Much
this
like
is the red half of the field.
would experience in a first competition of any size, you've got your match, whether First Tech Challenge or First Robotics Competition. It's Red Alliance versus Blue Alliance, and inside of the class pack there is a game manual that explains to the educator sort of how to lay that out depending on their class size and the group size. But we do have a manual for this game. We can do a quick walkthrough of the game first before we start our robot on it. We'll let you drive for the game, I think.
There we go.
But if we move over to our field,
Let's take a look.
we're going to take our first tech challenge robot.
Okay.
Oh, it hurts my heart to step on these mats.
Oh, no.
So we take our robot, and we've started it in the starting zone.
Right.
Now, these bricks are called Sky Stones. The first tech challenge competition game is also using the Sky Stones. So this is exactly, we had an earlier question in chat about, would this fit if I also had competition teams? Absolutely, and in fact, you're going to have a lot of the same materials from game pieces and stuff like that. So this is the red half. There would be a blue half roughly where I'm standing as well for the blue team. But we start our match, and the first goal is to knock over our Sky Stones and allow them to be put into play.
I feel like I'm going to do very well at that step.
Oh yeah, smash and crash.
Yeah.
From there, once you leave the starting zone, you have Sky Stones on the field. You'll use your robot to put Sky Stones back into this box that's the scoring area. That's why we start over here, right? We push a set of Sky Stones over. I'm going to regret this.
Down it goes.
Down it goes.
Nice
and then the
smash.
idea would be to place the Sky Stones back into the scoring area behind it where the robot's currently starting.
And you have a limited amount of time to do so, right?
Limited amount of time. So in the beginning, we'd have our autonomous period. I'm not sure we're going to work with an autonomous period for the purposes of our demo.
For this
We're
one,
going to get into some autonomous stuff later. I don't want to spoil it. And then this square over here.
And real quick, when you say autonomous, what do we mean by that?
Autonomous is completely computer controlled.
Right.
So in First Tech Challenge and First Robotics Competition, you have two modes to the game. You've got your autonomous period, which is all pre-coded instructions, no touching the controls, no touching the joysticks. And then after that point in the matches, you typically have teleoperated or driver-controlled play.
So the robot drives itself first, and then you get to control it after.
Exactly.
Got it.
So in the minigame in the class pack, you would use the autonomous period to get Sky Stones put into play, and then you would spend your match sort of sorting them back into that scoring area. In the last 30 seconds is called the end game, and that's what these special red striped Sky Stones over here are for.
Special ones.
Yes, so those Sky Stones are going to be introduced through this square in the last 30 seconds of the game, and you'll have an opportunity to put those in the scoring area for bonus points. Now, if we, as we play, lose any of the Sky Stones off the field, they can also be reintroduced through that mat. So a human who's on your team will be re-entering those Sky Stones onto the field.
So it actually it works to your disadvantage if you get too messy with knocking down these Sky Stones at the start.
We want to get too rowdy.
Because if you do that, then all of a sudden you don't have that ability to grab those as easily, and you have to try to read and navigate to pick them up.
Exactly.
I get it.
We
It's
gotta
not just destructive.
make sure not just about destruction. Although I'm sure that's pretty fun.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I'm gonna
yeah.
reset our Sky Stones here.
All right.
And I think we're gonna initialize our first tech challenge robot for you.
Okay. Well, I have never had a chance to work with a first tech challenge robot before.
Boy.
So maybe we can figure out a little bit together how to get this thing going.
Absolutely.
That would be awesome.
So the way that our first tech challenge robots work is on there is a control board hub that connects to this cell phone here. Not
Sure
yours
thing.
or mine, but this one.
Just a cell phone.
Property of First, of
Property
course, on the
first.
back.
So not very much not our cell phone.
Very much not our cell phone. Oh, there we go. I don't use Android, so the menus confuse me of just the phone, not the
just the
FTC
phone.
part.
It's fine. It's fine.
Just the actual phone.
So this is an app that's running
Yes.
on any old Android device, right? It can run on any phone pretty much?
Correct. It's Android phones, and then
Okay.
there's a chip inside of the control board on the First Tech Challenge robot as well.
Sure.
That does that. So we need to connect to the robot. Can you get into the Wi-Fi settings?
First question, is the robot on? And I don't believe it is. So I'm going to
No.
go ahead and turn that on real quick.
Why would it be on? Why would I do that?
Here we
then?
go. So
That makes
yeah,
too much
there's
sense.
a nice on switch button on the robot that I'm now going to hit. And now the robot's actually powered up. You can actually see, if I pick this back up here for ourselves, we have ourselves the nice back of this robot here. I'll bring this real close, in fact. So you can
Oh
see.
yeah, lights are on now.
Yeah, we got it. So you can see there's that nice on switch right here that we flipped on, along with the battery pack right on this side. And then the controller is actually this glowing little blue spot right there, connected to the various motors that we have kind of strewn all over this little robot. So I'm going to set this. Are we going to give a name for our robot, by the way?
What do you want to call him?
I don't know. What are you feeling?
I don't know. Sorry, I got scared.
It sounded very Star Warsy for a minute. So
Very Star
Do we
Warsy.
want to come up with some little Star Warsy kind of name for this guy?
Yeah. What would you like? I'm gonna follow your lead because I like robots with names, but I don't think this guy has a name yet.
I'm going to call him Clamps.
Clamps. All right.
Clamps.
we got our boy Clamps.
Got a
down
boy
here.
Clamps because it's got that nice clamp on the front. We just call it Clamps. So
All right. So here on the phone, we actually have a couple of options. Just how to connect. It's connected over Wi-Fi Direct. So we are going to go here and select our tank drive.
Okay,
which means
so on this phone right here, it is just so we can kind of get this clear. So you had a whole bunch of different op modes, they're called.
Yes.
Which are essentially programs that we write for our robot to actually make it run, right?
Correct. So there's a number of op modes selected on the phone. The options are things like your teleoperated code, your driver controlled code, or your autonomous code. So any code that we write, which, spoiler, we'll be doing a little bit of over on the laptop in a little bit, any of those programs get saved right here, and then they're saved on the robot. So I'm telling the phone, please access this piece of code so that I can run my robot.
Very nice.
Now what this piece is tank drive, just basic drive control for this robot. So
and when you say tank drive, what does that mean for the robot?
So tank drive means that the two sets of wheels, right? You've got right and left.
Right.
Will operate.
Just making sure.
Just making sure. Will operate. I mean, you think of like a tank, right? So if you put both forward, you'll both go forward. If you put both backward, you go both backward. If you put something forward and the other side backward, you'll sort of turn on a dime.
And so that is relating to like the control sticks on this controller right here, which if you ever played video games before, this looks a little familiar, right?
Have you played video games before?
I've touched a video game once or twice in my life, I will admit. But yeah, we have these nice little two control sticks, and I guess they control the left and the right side.
Correct.
Is that right? Awesome.
And then I know in this code we've also got our A and our Y buttons on the controller are what are gonna up and down the arm for our buddy clamps.
For this. Okay, for
so
clamps,
if you really want to create destruction with that arm, you can operate it through that. So again, all of that code was actually provided to us. The team here at first wanted us to make sure we could drive in the minigame without, messing up too much.
Right, yeah.
So we're gonna.
I think we'll have a chance to look at that a little bit later.
Yes, we are going to dive into their code. So not only we are going to be programming some autonomous modes for First Tech Challenge, but what we want to also look into is sort of what that code looks like for a typical controller. We're letting it listen to when the gamepad does this, please do this action on the robot. So that's what we're sort of working with right now, is all of this stuff is put together for us that says, when I hit the gamepad forward, please, move the robot forward. And each of these joysticks, again, is connected to the drive. So we're going to start, I believe, by initializing our robot. Do you feel ready to make mayhem?
I think about as ready as I'm going to be here.
All right.
Sure.
So my advice as a drive coach is that you should probably be able to see your robot while you're driving it. So I would take a step over.
I can't just drive randomly and have
blind
myself
drive.
a good time with this? Yeah.
You could give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it would go as well as you think it would.
Probably not.
But on
I'll go by the sound of the crashes.
All right, driver ready?
All right, driver is ready.
We're going to initialize.
Shouldn't be standing on the field though. There we go.
Get off the field.
Get off that field.
Play. And now the robot is ready.
Okay.
So you can drive it around.
I can drive the robot. I'm going to take it really nice and easy.
Good idea.
My first instinct is to just blast this thing forward. But I bet you I have to set the controller to actually control
Start A
start
at the same
and
time.
A at the same time. There we go.
There we go.
So now you can see I can move that arm up and down very nicely, which works very well for me.
I'm waving. Hi,
Hi,
buddy.
Clamps. Hello. And now Clamps is gonna go. No, should definitely take it nice and easy.
The Clamps seems to have found the spot between the
Clamps was feeling pretty good about that. Oh, and I can move the arm, I can open and close, which I'll show in a second here. I did that completely off any camera angle, but I will definitely show you in a second as I come over and knock over the blocks. Yeah! But I knocked one off. That's no good. That's okay. That's all right. We're going to work on this. We're going to come and try to collect some of these, right?
Yeah, you got to collect them.
If I swing this around, what if I used like the clamp to actually hold this with me? Maybe I just need to swing back where I came from. Here we go.
It's another sky stone out of play.
Yep. I'm focusing on one sky scone. Different kind of.
Hungry?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. There we go. And I dropped it off, but now I have the trouble of. Oh, actually, no. I was able to clear it out. All right.
Let's
so we
bring
got that
the other stack down so we have
all
a full
right,
field
let's
view
do
on our
it.
camera.
Let's knock this thing down. Ha! There we go. Now we got ourselves a nice, messy space, and I can actually get these things going, right? So now I don't have to go around every time. I can just drive around. I can try to collect these, and these motors can really get this thing going if you wanted to.
Yeah,
pretty crazy to see.
Clamps
is
a quick
having
boy.
a good time, especially since Clamps may not be fully charged right now.
Go, Clamps.
Come on, Clamps. Here we go. We're going to take it nice and easy because I need to get this hooked. There we go. Now Clamps is going to push that in, drop it off, and now we're moving.
Oh, we're motoring. Go, Clamps. Go, Clamps. It occurred to me that I didn't start a timer, but
Yeah, no, we're having a good time regardless.
We'll
This
give
is,
you a little bit of time.
by the way, in fact, live. If it wasn't, we would definitely retake this at least 3 more times to make sure that I got a perfect run on this, right?
I think you're doing great.
Why, thank you.
I think you're doing very well.
So I'm going to hook this in. I'm going to set down, clamp down there a little bit.
Smart.
We're going to clamp this in place. And then we're going to lift that up, push this on in. And there we go. All right. Feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty confident about this.
I think you should feel confident. That's a wonderful run. Oh, you got to do some victory spins.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go. That's when you win, you got to spin.
You got to spin to win. Spin and win.
Oh no, now we're making circles on the map.
Oh,
Okay.
it's part of the game. The circle looks better than the random movements
It's a part
anyway.
of the challenge.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
All right, so yeah, we can see that the clamp moves here pretty well. I wonder if I could clamp down on one of those
Ooh.
top parts there, just real
Maybe.
light-like. Can I try?
Oh my god, I want to see it work. Please go.
Oh, let's see.
Okay, open
maybe,
it up.
Yeah.
Open
Let's see
up.
if we can
Come
bring
down,
it down.
close,
Whoop.
close, and then back up.
There we go.
Start to tear,
And-
pull it with you. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know how successful I'd be in actually like clamping that in, but you know what? That feels pretty good at least. We
I
got
think
a
you're
little bit
doing
of.
great.
We manipulated here today. We were using manipulators to manipulate the manipulated materials.
Oh my goodness. Have you? Is that a new vocabulary word?
It
We're
is
bringing it in on here.
absolutely.
Good. Well, clamps I think has sort of killed it at our game here, but this is just an example of what the First Tech Challenge class pack minigame would actually be like, right? So if you were using this in the classroom, you would have multiple groups of students. You'd have multiple people in the class, and each of them would be building their own robot to compete. And so where we just have the red side of the field, you would actually have a red and a blue. You might have 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2. It's all actually documented in the game manual that comes with class pack. So if you're a teacher and you're looking at potentially working with the First Tech Challenge class pack, don't worry about oh man, I'm gonna have to design this whole tournament and what do I do? The rules are all right there. If you want to learn more about class pack, whether it is for First Tech Challenge, First LEGO League, First LEGO League Junior, or First LEGO League Junior Discovery Edition, all the way down to pre-K, you can learn more at firstinspires.org/hour-of-code. But yeah, all the material is there. So if you're someone who is new to First and wants to dip their toe into the world of First competitions, all of our class pack options are going to be something that you can sort of bring into a classroom, get your first taste of the First community, and then hopefully from there expand into any other of the age groups or into competition teams. So again, it's a nice way to bring that First experience home, no matter what your experience level of teaching.